And there we go.
Good evening, folks. Good morning, folks. Good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to Paranormal Histories interview with the cast of the Canadian TV series Knock Knock Ghost. Good evening, guys, or good morning. Thanks very much
for you all, and evening for us.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for taking the time and coming to see us. We're really over the moon that you can spare the time. So, you tell us a wee bit just about yourself. Whoever wants to start, feel free.
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah,
we all waited, and now we're all going. So Canadian. So Canadian. I'm Richard Ryder. I'm the host. I'm a stand-up comic in Toronto as well, and I've recently branched off into drag. I have a drag persona on YouTube, Wilma Fingerdew. I review RuPaul's Drag Race and other things, and every once in a while they ask me to host this ghost show.
I guess I'll go next. I am Bree Doyle. I am the former assistant, now tech expert over at Knock Knock Ghost. And in my spare time, I work for this little coffee shop named Starbucks. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Got a couple of them.
And then occasionally I get called to host for assist, host, whatever, tech expert for Knock Knock Ghost. I can't talk because I haven't had coffee. Yeah. Kevin?
I'm the new psychic medium, so those
Yay!
I'm glad to be a part of it all. The last 2 seasons featured Jem Hunt, who did a fantastic job. I have been a professional medium forever, and got a call up by Kyle Whitelaw to fill the spot as the psychic medium, and so I've completed the filming of season 3. We just finished that up last week.
Yeah.
So it should be appearing soon. Trademark.
Maybe the beginning of November. Maybe allegedly.
Beginning of November. I think.
Maybe.
Allegedly.
But it's been a whole lot of fun. I've been doing paranormal investigations since I was 16 years old. So this is like 33 years of it.
I've been experiencing paranormal.
I was hoping you guys would be like, he looks so young.
No, you look like crap. You need more vegetables. I'm just saying. I'm 55. We look the same age, you sad bastard.
So how did it all start off? How did the concept of Knock Knock Ghost come together? Because as you say, Richard, you do all your other stuff. You were a broadcaster as well for Proud Radio, was it, in Ontario?
Yes,
I
was the morning show host for Proud FM, which was nationally on the internet, which was just starting, not the internet, but radio on the internet was just kind of happening at that time. So we had a very weak signal in Toronto. So I lived next to, I literally took 5 minutes to walk to work and I couldn't get the radio on my own channel. But on the internet, it was brilliant. And we had a really great following, especially in English-speaking communities in foreign countries, where these not only just communities of English speakers, but gay English speakers, because in some countries there were laws, you know what I mean, and there weren't a lot of clubs or whatever, and it was really surprising to hear the reach, not only who was hearing us, but why they were enjoying it, and that was really fun. And while I was doing that in the mornings, from like 4 a.m. till noon, Kyle contacted me and said, "Would you like to host this ghost show?" And I'm a whore, so I said, "Of course." But it never struck me. It never struck me that we would be shooting nights on the weekend after I'd had a full week of being up from 4 till noon. So the first season we shot, I don't even remember it. Like I couldn't tell you. Like there are buildings I remember and there are moments I remember, but I've never watched the show because I can't watch I get too self-conscious. So for me to be what they want me to be, I can't pay attention. I'm a simple person, easy to understand.
I'm a wee bit like that when you say self-conscious. I'm a wee bit like that about my voice. I hate listening to my own voice. I can watch myself, but see, as soon as I start talking, I need to turn the volume off because I just
I edit myself for YouTube for Wilma Fingerdew. I'm in drag, and that's way easier because it's not really me. It doesn't look like me. Whereas when I edit my stand-up stuff, whether it's an album or a video, it's different. Like I'm like, oh, you fat bastard, or oh, why do you say things like that, or it's very supportive and nurturing.
The most nurturing, absolutely.
And Bree, I know you were in acting for a time as well.
Yeah. If you've ever seen the movie It Takes Two with the Olsen twins, in the first 10 minutes, don't blink. And it's hard to recognize because I have hair. But
there's a lot of people like Googling that right now,
Everybody.
I got stopped at an airport. I'm not kidding you. Years after I did it. And every once in a while, I get an Olsen twins check for $2. But over the years, it's come up to at least $100. So suck on that, Olsen twins. I got stopped at an airport by a lady with a young child who said, "This is so weird. Were you in an Olsen twins movie?" And I'm like, "I was." And she said, "My daughter recognizes you." It's like, "Your poor daughter, your poor sad shut-in daughter." But yeah, I'm very famous, and I don't understand why you don't know this.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah,
but you did a film as well.
What's that?
No, sorry, I was saying, Bree, you did a film as well. You were in acting for a while as well, Bree.
I've done a few different things. I've been an extra in a couple movies, but literally blink and you'll miss it. One was when I was 16 years old. I was an extra in the movie How to Deal with Mandy Moore.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this one scene where she's coming out of like a funeral and it's raining, and you have to pause. But if you pause it at just the right moment, there's a big close up of just my face. But it's one of those like it goes by like that. So. But
were you staring in the camera? You're like,
huh?
I said, were you staring in the camera?
No, I was watching it with my parents. My dad thought he caught it. So when they got it on DVD, and then he was like freeze framed through that little scene, and sure enough, there's a split-second clip of like just my face.
Nice.
But so I've done that. When I was in my early 20s, I was on MTV on this show called Chris and John to the Rescue.
Mm-hmm.
Which is when I first saw you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I used to watch that show.
And that's how I met Kyle. Well, not through that show, but so MTV at one point wanted me to sing a song for them for a Christmas commercial that they were developing. So when I went to record this song, Kyle was the person doing the recording of the song. So years later, when he was developing Knock Knock Ghost, he got in touch with me and was like, I don't know if you remember me, but we worked on this Christmas commercial years ago, and I'm developing this show, Knock Knock Ghost, and I want you to be involved if you'd be interested. And I was like, sure. At the time, I was working at this coffee shop, Aroma Espresso Bar. So I mean, like anything's better than slinging lattes. So I know. Here we are, all these years later. I'm so glad I did.
So
I've done a little bit of acting here and there.
And
then what I have to say is so boring. It's like I just do readings.
No, but you solve crimes. You've helped police solve crimes.
So I started my career a long time ago as a private investigator, and got involved with. It started as adultery cases. Those were the worst because at the time in South Carolina, you could get a divorce based off the grounds of adultery. There's kind of a punitive quality to it, And then that led up to personal injury and wrongful death. And it's through wrongful death that connection with spirit became even grander. So it gave me a working relationship with other like police agencies and families with missing persons and stuff. And from there, it just rolled into personal reading. People coming in and want to know their path and stuff. Where in the next couple of years, what are they going to look like? And to speak to spirit, people who've lost loved ones and want to connect with them. That's been the majority of my career. My wife runs this yoga studio here. Happen to be at the studio because I'm really loud and we have sleeping children.
Right.
But it's been a joy to be able to bring it together and then to be called to meet fabulous people like Richard and Bree and to ghost hunt together. It creates a cool balance that I feel like I haven't had. I've had this like if you ask me if something's a spirit, I'll take my time and investigate it. But I tend to be my preset is to recognize spirit. I'm eager to do that. Where Richard comes in, he's more balanced, and Richard creates like he's the skeptic. I mean, he's not like a little bit skeptic. You don't make skeptics.
I'm a little bit. I doubt everything, but the minute the lights are off, I'm the first one to wet my pants. I like when the light of rationality is gleaming in my face, everything is questionable. We had once where if you're here, knock, and clearly we got a knock, but it was 2 rooms over, and I was like, oh well, that doesn't count. That's not good enough. It needs to be in here. You know, that's how judgy I am.
I've watched all the episodes over and over again, and that's what I was going to ask you, Richard. You know, you always seem to be the kind of skeptic in the show. And I was going to ask you, is there anything at all that's happened over the last 2 seasons that's made you maybe think, well, you know, maybe there is something, maybe there's not, you know, that would change your mind?
You know, it's what's interesting. It's not that something's changed my mind. It's that I'm more aware of things that I would normally just dismiss. Like, you know, if you're sitting in a room and a car at night goes by and the light all changes in the room, you know what that is, you rationalize. But sometimes something like that happens and it's not rational, like you rationalize it. So sometimes you might be walking and you go through a cold spot. And if you're my age, you're like, oh, well, I'm getting a hot flash. You know what I mean? Like you rationalize it. But then when we're in an environment time and time again where, like orbs, for me, I used to think, calm down, it's dust catching the light. But it's not because there's no breeze and yet they're going that way or all over the place. Or there's so many you think, well, I would have to see those even when the flash went on with my eye. Yeah. No. And so now I start to see. I took a picture of Kevin 2 episodes ago. No, the last episode, Kevin. And there is clearly, we're going to have it on the show, but there's clearly something coming away from, like moving away from Kevin. It's on parallel with him in front of the window, but his hand is in front of it. So it's clearly there. But it was, I sent it to you, didn't I, Kevin?
Yeah, you sent it to me. And it's definitely, like, you can tell it has substance. It's not just light.
But then we also, I don't want to give too much away because it's from this season, but we had an experience where it's like when you're we all film, so we have bright lights in our face, and then you look away and everything's darker around you and you might get a ghost image of the square of the light. So we were in a dark room, all these cameramen, but it's all infrared, no light. And there was just a bit of a light out of the corner of my eye. And every time I kind of shifted my eye to the left, I got a ghost image here, but there was no light there. And I did it a couple of times, and I realized I was looking at a face, and it kind of startled me. But I was still able to rationalize that this is my mind manipulating. Just as Kevin said, I see a face, and I'm like, shut up. Right now. I've also, there was an episode a few ago where one of our ADs was in the doorway talking. We were in there was light coming in, and he had a shadow against the wall, and then he walked away from the door, and his shadow moved, and then a minute later, another shadow moved. There was nobody there. It wasn't a car. No other shadows moved, but it was on the door. And that would have been something a year ago. I would have been like, I wouldn't have even seen it. I would have just assumed it as a passing car. So I'm starting to see things now and questioning them more. I don't know. I still don't feel like I've seen anything necessarily validating, but stuff has happened, sure.
But you said you just said your colleague seen the shadow, you know, when he was standing at the door. Was that on board the? I might pronounce this wrong. The Hider, the ship.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. You were sitting down
because you see it,
Yeah.
and it's a shadow. Like Kevin will often see a dark shape, not a shadow, not a mass that has space and time to it. But none of us see it. But every once in a while, you know, again, out of the corner, or when you're not really paying attention, you're not looking for it, you'll notice like a darker spot if you let your mind rest on what you just saw. Sometimes for me, like it's just I'm so hyper wanting to see something. I walk around most of the rooms that we go in with my arms kind of out away from my sides, with my hands spread, in case somebody wants to touch my hand. I'll walk through just in case. Like I'm open to it. I'm not calling anybody, but I have yet to be. Bree gets touched all the time.
I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, they've chosen me as their beacon. It's like
it's those long legs.
Yeah.
I was going to come to you next, Bree, on that same investigation on the. How do you pronounce it? Is it Hider? The ship.
Hider.
Right. You're standing in the mess, and you keep playing with your hair.
Yeah.
Do you remember that bit? What was going on there with that bit? Did you feel something was touching you, or? Because I noticed
Sometimes
you
my
kept
hair just annoys me, so I play with it. To be perfectly honest, but there's a bunch of weird things that happened on the Haida. There was this one, at least from what I was told. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I was told that there was a sailor aboard the ship that was escorting me around the ship because, I mean, back when the sailor would have been alive working on it, women weren't allowed on board ships without male escorts. So this ghost was escorting me around the ship the whole time I was on there. And so I was like, go figure, I find a boyfriend, but he's from the other side. So why can't I
remember
find
that.
a guy in this life instead of the afterlife? You know?
Right?
It'd be great if they were alive. Like, I guess I need to make a ghost Tinder profile. So that was kind of creepy. But there's times I'm like, I feel things touching me or touching my shirt or touching me back or touching my hair, and like I'm always like, what is that? Or is that? And so I feel like I'm constantly touching myself, like brushing things off of me because I don't know. Is it a cobweb? Is it a spider? Is it something I can't see?
And I really don't want to give away much of season 3, but you had a moment in the Deepin bunker.
Yeah, pay attention to the Deepin bunker. There's a big thing that happens there.
I'm anxiously awaiting season 3. Anxiously awaiting. I'll be checking Google every day for the release date.
There's a bunch of really cool things that happen in this season.
He's obsessed.
Yeah, it was a fun season for sure.
Yeah, easily our best season yet.
There's only 2. I mean, you know, there's numerous ghost shows out there in the UK, in the States, Canada, you know, all over the world. Yeah. There's hundreds of them, literally. There's actually only 2 that I watch, and one is UK based, and the other one's your own. And Sarah's my partner in life as well in the group. It's only 2. If I go on to Amazon Prime, when Sarah falls asleep, I'm on Amazon Prime, and it's fine. Not Ghost. And that's without a word. I'm not just saying because you're here. There's only 2 shows that I follow, and you're one of them.
You're only saying that because you asked 8 shows to do the interview, and we're the only idiots that
I don't care.
And we said yes.
That was the last. That was call me all right. You call me out.
You're like, damn you, Zach Baggins.
I have to say, before we do a show, like when we know that we're shooting this weekend or whenever's coming up, like I can't watch anything scary. Like I actually was a fan of those ghost shows. Some of them, not all of them. There were a couple of good ones out there for sure, and there were a couple I watched, but I can't watch them when we're going to shoot, or even like a commercial for a scary movie. Like it just it panics me a bit, and I just once I'm there, I'm fine, you know. But the idea, nobody wants. Does anyone want to walk around a basement in the dark by themselves? No. No, and if you are that person, we're not friends.
Yeah, exactly. If you are that person, you're next.
We definitely have had those locations that, like, for a medium, this season kind of threw me off. And American, too. I like having the Deepin bunker, this huge Cold War military underground bunker in Canada. It's like, that would make sense in the U.S.
Yeah, we have to save the maple syrup.
Right? It's just so, it doesn't even seem Canadian.
No.
But then there was, we did the Ottawa jail hostel. And they have like the gallows there and everything. It was just startling because you soak up so much of the residual energy of the place, like on top of the intelligent spirit that's there. I just found it to be. We did what, a Pioneer Village and Discovery Harbor, which was quite brilliant. But we had one location this season that I think in most ghost hunts you're sitting around for hours waiting for a REM pod to go off.
Yeah.
Everything was happening like all at once. And that's
they came at us. They wanted us to. Yeah, we didn't look for them.
Yeah.
It was the craziest ghost hunt and location that I think I've ever been to.
And that was an exciting one too, because it wasn't oppressive. We've had moments like there was that Mason. Bree, you remember the Mason building in Hamilton where that devil voice.
Oh,
and
I had to go away and cry.
Oh, yeah, it disrupted you. And then that same location, that alarm went off, and we went into the ballroom, and I turned this alarm. We have a sensor. So we're all walking into this dark maw of a ballroom in this building.
Oh, my God.
And it's the loudest siren thing, and it was a motion detector. And I turned to say to Bree, she's gone. She's 100 yards upstairs. And I can literally hear him. It's
that's one thing that attracted me to your show, and keeps me hooked. It's you get a lot of ghost shows and paranormal, give me a serious business, but you also need a wee bit of fun, in it as well. And that's what caught me about your show. It's just you've found that balance. That you can have the comedy and you can have you still do the investigation and you do the medium, does his thing and what have you. But the comedy just seems to work so well with it.
Yeah. Once Kyle gets a location, he'll send me information. So, because I write my own script. Like I'm listed as a writer because we don't have anybody doing like an intro. I do it. And as Kevin said, I ad-lib most of it, but I also gather my own information. So, we try. We did this one location last year where we went somewhere, and in the information that was given to me, it was said this place at one point had been an orphanage. So we had this whole Orphan Annie thing written out in our head. And then when we got there and talked to the location, the person, the expert on location, he said, "Oh no, that's a lie. It was never an." And I'm like, "Well, now what the hell?" And so, because we're writing this stuff together, Kyle and I will often organically just change it. They say, we went running around one day for a big wheel because we wanted to recreate The Shining with the kid on the big wheel with Bree on the big wheel at this boarding house. And we found a big wheel. But we like to try and keep it as organic to the situation, and if something comes up in the course of it, then we go that way with it. It's a great way to work. I really like working that way. Kyle and I think the production side of things work well that way. And then when we're all on set, because there's no real, like, you did that wrong. You know what I mean? It's a we're going to do this and we'll do that, and most of the time we get everything in one take.
I like the other way. The other thing you do at the end, you do the outtakes. You know,
The
you put
outtakes,
the outtakes at the end.
Oh,
Yeah.
do we have outtakes at the end?
Yeah.
Did you not?
It's
Did
so
you not know
funny,
that?
too. It's like,
Oh, this is why I can't watch it. Now I'm embarrassed.
yeah, like
We have outtakes at the end of the show.
Yeah, the
Oh.
crew will be goofing off or something. I think about
No.
There's
like
this.
Simon doing the Tim bit. The
Oh no,
donut
that
king.
wasn't Simon. That was one of our old camera operators.
Oh, was it?
He's moved on to other projects now.
We have a great crew. Our crew is so
Great crew.
fantastic.
But yeah, they're in the
It's a
first
small
season.
but
I think
mighty
it was
crew.
in the Falls or the Mason or the Towers, maybe. He's going around with a Timbit in his hand, and he's like going behind the crew. Nobody knows that he's there, but he's like, Timbit, and then he'll move along. And then there's this one thing, he goes up to a statue, and he's like, would you like a Timbit? It's hysterical.
And a Timbit's just a donut hole. So it's just a dough ball for the UK viewers.
Yeah,
It's
people
not
that
the Denny dough ball. It's Tim Horton's dough ball, the king of hockey. I'm a gay man, and I should know none of that. And because I'm Canadian, I do.
I was going to ask you what a Timbit was, because we don't have a clue. Well, I've never heard it. I was going to ask you about the Timbit. No, I like I really love the comedy in it. The comedy is fantastic. And no offence, Kevin, but Richard and Bree, you work brilliant together. You know, you can see you can see the chemistry is there, and it's just, as I said to Bree before you came in, Richard, it doesn't matter if you watch it once or 10 or 20 times, it's still just as funny, you know. And
I think I recognize that coming in. It's like I'm cool with doing as Richard's getting like the history on a location and doing the intro tour. I'm doing my psychic tour, so it's the first time I'm on set, and they just they spin me off. So we don't really meet that day until later in the day.
There's a whole other world that goes on I never see. I don't even.
So he's getting like the history as I'm like seeing the location for the first time and giving my psychic take. Yeah. But it's something that when Kyle approached me and he said, "Well, there's these comedy bits," it's the part that intimidates the hell out of me. In occasion, you'll see in the first couple of episodes, I say very little in these skits. It's just like, you know,
but listen to that accent. How could you not want to listen to that accent?
Right? So the ghost hunt's like right up my alley. That's perfect. The psychic tour I love. I feel very comfortable. But it's this comedy bits because there's so much like genius that goes on and humor and timing. And you want to pay that as service. Like I definitely want to show up for that. And it's just it. As soon as I learned that I was on this show, I went and just shotgun and watched all the shows. And so when I met Bree and Richard for the first time, it was like I was starstruck. I was like, "Oh my God, Bree and Richard!"
You poor thing. You poor thing.
It might sound stupid, but I think I've watched these that much, you know, the 2 seasons that much, that I feel like I know these inside out kind of thing, because I do really, it's not obsessive, but you know, I do watch it a lot, so I feel like, you know, like Bree and Richard, I know he's inside out, and as Kevin says, the chemistry and the timing, and it's just, you know, and Bree, when you dress up, you know, like on that boat again, you came on dressed as a sailor and what have you, you know, it just kills me, so it does. And the way you act, Richard, sometimes you just, you know, walk away there and just, you know, go away. You know, one thing I really ask you is coffee. Are you really that addicted to coffee?
You know, it's so funny. That's
Who
one of
watches your
the
show?
that's one of the organic things that happened in the first season that we kind of grabbed onto, was that not only was Brie my assistant, but she wasn't good at it. And
it's a bad assistant.
yeah, which was so funny. But what I loved about the second season was the tables kind of got turned, wherein I was kind of, I'm not bullying, but tougher, like, you know, to Brie. In the second season, I got the butt of the joke. Like, I got locked in places, and, you know, and I really liked that aspect of the second season. But the one thing I really was adamant with Kyle about for this show was not lying to anybody at all. Like, not pretending we're seeing things.
Yeah.
Also, because Kevin's a psychic, like, this is his job. I didn't want to write comedy that would compromise his, what's the word? Professionalism, you know? Yeah. And when Brie transitioned, for us, it was like, okay. But we didn't want it to be a big deal, but we also didn't want it to be weird. Like, cause it's not like this is a much more common thing, I think, our show. I think the variety of people on it, the fact that we're all different in a lot of ways, we represent different communities and different upbringings. I mean, you know, Kevin's an American, don't tell everyone. And
I'm so sorry, and my apologies.
Totally fine here, buddy. Totally fine. I know you're talking about, Richie, you know, a lot of these ghost shows are kind of straight down the line. You know, it's one focus, but your show does tend to widen, you know, people's way of thinking. And, you know, with yourself pre-transition, it wasn't weird, you know, because also I watched season 1 and then season 2, and it just, you know, it wasn't a case of, oh my God, you know, it's a totally natural thing. And I think that is a good, you know, it's a good way to reach more people. Because a lot of people these days are kind of closed-minded, you know, shallow-minded, and, you know, turn their faces up or whatever.
If I could just say this before anything else, Brie is one of only 2 working actors in the world today who transitioned in their career. She's the only one who did it on the show concurrently. The other actress is Tova something, and she'll be starring in the reboot of Saved by the Bell. And she transitioned a few years ago after one show and continued her career as Tova, and seems to have had no hiccup. And I think, you know, we're introduced to different people. This is who they are, done, and we accept that person, but we're not aware of the journey behind it. And I think the thing that makes our show so great is this is life. Lots of people have this experience, but it's not talked about very often, and that's the shame.
That is the shame. I mean, Brie, I think you're amazing. I think you know, got a lot of respect for you, because also, you know, you've probably been through a lot, you know, whatever, and you know, you're still shining. That's the main thing. You're still walking tall, or, you know, whatever, providing you wear the right shoes.
They're like crazy tall.
She's a living blonde.
And I really like my heels, so it makes me even taller. So.
But because I'm 6'4", she can wear whatever she wants.
It's true, because I'm still usually just a little bit shorter.
Because I'm right at 6 feet tall, and you would never know it. Bree's in her heels, and Richard's 6'4". I look like I'm like.
When Kevin goes on set, they play circus music.
Excuse me. Kevin, you're a medium, and you're one of the most foremost mediums in North America. When you're watching, you know, if you look at pictures or you're watching TV, do you pick up from that as well? You know, the reason I'm asking is because in that episode on that ship, which I wanted to ask you about anyway, there's a bit in it where it's along that corridor, and you can clearly see a male figure at the end of the corridor. A shadow of a male figure at the end of the corridor.
There's definitely, not only in that show, but in others where I'll have a lot of clients who send me their evidence in too, and it's kind of funny because I will, like, if it can be debunked or if I get nothing from it, I'll have to share that. I'm like, sorry, this is double exposure or something of that nature. But yeah, definitely. I guess if I wanted to go back and visit the places that Bree and Richard and Jim filmed, I would want to go to the Haida. I would want to go to the Towers building. I would want to go to St. Thomas's. Seems like it'd be one hell of a location.
Yeah, that was crazy.
The psychiatric hospital.
Was that the that was stunning.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
We go into some of the most
So I see
beautifully
these
architecture.
I see these moments, and I know that they've connected, and I want to go and have that experience with that person, that spirit. Yeah, it's brilliant to watch as a viewer, and it's been cool to come in as a participant and join this crew. And really, I can't say enough about our crew. We are surrounded by some of the most supportive, creative.
There's only like 7 of us. There's 7 crew and the 3 of us, 4 of us.
It's true.
So it's a small little group. And what's great about that is when they lifted the restrictions for COVID, indoors you could only have so many. Well, we were well below that always. And I don't know about the like Kevin's got his family with him, but I live alone and I never go anywhere except to go grocery shopping once a week. So like my exposure rate is so minimal that even when we shot, like it was weird to be around that many people. But at the same time, everyone's so great. And this one girl, Roma, she's kind of like the mother hen. It's like, have you had water? Did you wash your hands?
Yeah. She's always taking care of
Can I take your picture? Like things are happening.
And if you follow Instagram, there's a clever picture. Did you notice? Like it's the whole crew. Roma took that picture.
Yeah,
Roma was in the picture, and it wasn't done with a timer. I guess they photoshopped her in or something.
Yeah, they dropped her in there.
But she'll be quick to say, like, I went for pizza at our last shoot, and Roma's like, did you wash your hands?
Yeah.
And while we're talking about Instagram, Kevin does our Instagram.
Yeah,
right.
He does.
He's responsible for, and we have like over 1,000 followers now. We had none 6 months ago.
We had like
50. So it's all him.
It's amazing how
it's been beautiful because Roma creates a lot of that content with the photos and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's been easy to kind of catalog what we've been doing through the shoot.
Yeah, because we didn't do any of that the first 2 years.
No, we didn't.
No.
not
We just were too busy doing the show.
I've been a fan in that regard. It's like that's the stuff I want to see as a fan. And so that's why I'm attached to it that way. I'm like, let's get Roma's pictures and let's put them up there.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah, so it's been brilliant just to have that kind of attention to the show.
We've got Instagram. As I said before, she's the tech genius and what have you. Instagram, Sarah runs all that. I don't know how many we've got on Instagram. Sarah, because we've only been going since June, so we've only been on the go since for about 4 months now. I've been into the paranormal for 25 plus years, kind of thing. Fascinated with. I loved all the horror movies as a teenager, kind of stuff, and that's what got me into it. Who is Chester Lollipop?
Oh my God, your worst nightmare.
Who?
Your worst nightmare.
Chester's that ventriloquist dummy.
Oh God.
Chester Lollipop.
Is that an appropriate term? Ventriloquist doll.
Yeah.
They're just creepy anyway.
They are.
Like,
very
I don't
creepy.
think you should have ventriloquist dolls as ghost equipment. It's just wrong.
Yeah, they're clearly possessed by demons. So
One of our fans suggested that somehow or was it was the little monkey with the symbols, said we should have a little
terrible. The last thing you hear before you die.
You guys start doing that.
I saw the post saying our newest cast member for season 3's Chester Lollipop. So I thought, I have to ask, who it is. Just get back to Instagram. Sorry, Sarah, how many have we got on Instagram?
188. So nothing in comparison to yours, but
Obviously, you guys are kicking up.
I only set our Instagram up about a month ago, roughly.
Oh, that's good.
And then obviously,
yeah, definitely.
I followed you guys, and then you followed me back, and I'm like, right, what? Wait a minute. I had to double check my phone. I'm like, no, I'm seeing things. I've seen it.
I don't mean to be a horrible colonist, but as a Canadian who gets picked on by Americans for saying about as a boot, and you just say that is delicious.
We could listen to Sarah all night.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do. Because
I am a woman of very few words. I don't talk very much.
No. I'll put my hand up. Without Sarah, we wouldn't have a group because obviously it's all tech stuff, with Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all the rest of it. And I'd be, I use a pad and paper. I'm kind of old school, as they say over here. I don't know if you're that saying in Canada, but I'm kind of old school that way, Paper and pen, that's my friends, But Sarah, she is quite clever on the computer and breaking things down and what have you. We did an investigation in our house last Sunday?
Yeah.
And we were using the laser grid on the wall. On the wall that you can see behind Sarah with the canvas on it.
Right.
And it was Sarah that caught it, actually. She was singing through the footage the next day. And it was less than a second, just this image right there. But Sarah managed to sit and slow it right down, and you after she done it, and I could never do something like that. Never ever could do something like that. And then it just so happened that on the Monday, one of our guests was it was from the other show that I watched, the Haunted House UK. We had the presenter for that one, Danny Moss, and I thought, I'm going to show this to Danny. I want to see what he thinks about it. So he kind of validated it for us, but it was nice to Sarah that, we got that and she was able to say, I don't know the words for it, slow the thing down. So, Sarah's a computer person, not me. I'm thick as mince when it comes to that sort of thing. You know what I mean? So, how much time, does an episode usually take to film? From start to finish.
It's a day, a 12-hour day.
Yeah,
some of them have been like 14, 17-hour days.
Yeah, we have a break in the middle, but
yeah. So it takes a while. Like we arrive, kind of depends on the weather too. Canada can have some very harsh winters.
Yeah.
I remember when we shot in Ottawa, I was freezing.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but it depends. Like I might arrive at 9:30, 10 o'clock to do the psychic tour. And at the same time, Richard is doing the historical tour. I'm not sure what to call that.
It's the opening. I'll do the opening and the introductions, and sometimes, like Kevin and Bree will be there in the morning for that introduction shot, and then definitely then Kevin goes off and does his thing, and then depending on what Bree has for the rest of the day, we'll be using her definitely in something, but not right away. So she'll have a bit of downtime, and then there's always
stand there and look pretty.
Yeah, which she does very well. She's been nominated twice.
Well done, you.
Yeah, right. We're very famous.
We'll do the ghost hunt like at nightfall, and then it might end at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they go a bit later. Kind of depends on activity.
Yeah.
So it can be a long time.
We have locations where it's very busy, and all of a sudden it's 2 in the morning, and we're like, we just started. And other nights nothing's happening, and it's like, just end it.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? It's like only 10 minutes comes by, and it feels like longer.
Now I'm possessed.
Scott, if you had us to visit Scotland and go to like your most haunted location, where would that be?
Greyfriars Kirkyard.
What?
Greyfriars Kirkyard.
Oh yeah.
Greyfriars in Edinburgh. It's the reputation of being the most haunted kirkyard or graveyard. Kirkyard is just another word for graveyard.
Yeah.
Kirk meaning church, churchyard. It's the most haunted graveyard in the world.
Wow.
It's Greyfriars in Edinburgh. We've got videos on YouTube with it. We've been many times, we've been during the day and at night time. It's really, I pick up on things, I pick up on spirit and like things to photographs. I don't call myself a medium. People say, are you a medium? I say, no, I don't call myself a medium. I just pick up and, what I get. Sometimes you get nothing. Sometimes you get something that's down to spirit, what you get basically. But as soon as you enter Greyfriars, you can feel a total change in the atmosphere. Greyfriars, it sits right in the middle of Edinburgh, right in the heart of Edinburgh, and it sits on one of the main routes in and out of the city. So all day long you've got cars, buses, trucks, people. It's always busy. But as soon as you step in the gates, it's like stepping back in time. It's totally, I was going to say dead. Maybe that's the wrong word,
Appropriate.
It's just totally, Sarah Chow, she's been there with me as well. She actually gets scratched in the graveyard as well. It's a totally different atmosphere. Its history dates back to Mary Queen of Scots. So you're looking at 500-600 years. A quick rundown. The most reported ghost in is called the McKenzie poltergeist, and it's said to be the ghost of George McKenzie, who back in the time of King Charles II, he was the Lord Chief Advocate of Scotland. And what happened was, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Covenanters. You've ever heard of the Covenanters?
No, I can't say that.
No. The Covenanters, basically what happened was King Charles II brought out a new law, basically saying, follow my religion. The Covenanters were a group of people who didn't agree with this. They still wanted to follow the king, but they wanted to follow the religion in their own way. But the king saw this as treason.
Oh, yes.
And so what happened was, the war started. 1,200 Covenanters were captured, and they were put in the Greyfriars, which at the time was just fields basically there. They were locked in Greyfriars, and George McKenzie, because he was the Lord Chief Advocate, he was given the job by King Charles II to basically deal with the Covenanters, get rid of them. So for those that survived the conditions in the prison, they were tortured and taken round the corner and hung.
Oh my God.
They just were executed. So Greyfriars is said to be haunted by the ghost of George McKenzie, or he was known as Bloody McKenzie, and the reputation being Bloody McKenzie. The other thing about Greyfriars being in the 1600s, a plague hit Edinburgh, and the death toll was that big that they ran out of places to bury, the dead. So mass graves were dug in Greyfriars. Greyfriars started off originally flat, but if you Google it, YouTube, you see it's on a hill. The reason it's on a hill is just because the sheer amount of bodies that were buried in there. The estimation is about 500,000 bodies are buried in Greyfriars Kirkyard. It doesn't matter where you stand. You know the old story, you don't walk over a grave. In Greyfriars, it doesn't matter where you walk, whether it's on the grass or a path, you're walking over bodies. You can't avoid them. So that, to me, that's the most haunted location I would say in Scotland.
Yeah, it sounds like it sets itself up for a lot of potential energy. Let's pack up the boat. Let's go.
like Scott said, the minute you walk in the gate, it's a total different atmosphere. And you're always scared. Well, not scared, but you're always kind of, when it rains, especially in Scotland, you get rain all the time. But if the rain's quite heavy, bits of bodies and bits of bones can pop up.
Oh, wow.
So when you go after it's
like, no, thank you.
Great.
After a heavy rainstorm, you're kind of always kind of looking at your feet as if to say, I hope nothing's kind of uncovered itself.
Wow.
Cool.
It's the George McKenzie, after he died, he was actually buried in Greyfriars, which was quite ironic because the Covenanters were buried there as well. So that's where they put him after he died in Greyfriars, and it's called the McKenzie Mausoleum. And we were doing an investigation there one day. Now there's over 300 individual reports of people being scratched, bitten, bruised, pushed, collapsing, all documented reports. We were there one day and Sarah ended up getting, it wasn't anything major, but it was like 3 wee scratches on her arm at beside the McKenzie tomb. So it's quite a freaky place. I think you'd love it, Bree. You'd love it. You would love it.
We've experienced over the years now, like scratches and like physical stuff have come up on. I think Bree has. Jim definitely did. But that's the thing. Like I've never walked into a room and gone, "Oh, we shouldn't be here." Like never felt anything. I've never had any cold sensation. Like we even in the last location, it was like, "Come here and feel here," and I stood and it was like, okay, now that you're saying it, but I would walk by that and not notice. So that's for me the disappointment is I'm kind of, it's like, come on, show me. And I feel like it happens around me. Even when we have a finished episode, people will say, oh, there was that person at the end of the hallway. Well, we don't see that because it's not on our spectrum. It's in editing where it was our first episode. Kyle had edited and there was that person in the door frame and they showed at the end and they circled it and it scared the crap out of me because that was only 5 of us shooting. There was only 5 people in that room and there's the 6th in the doorway. Like, what the heck? But that was also the episode where somebody caught a chair with their foot as I'm filming the chair and the chair moved 6 feet and I screamed like a woman. That was
I love the reactions that you have on, if you hear a noise or somebody maybe brush it. I love the reaction that you and Bree have. It's just, it's brilliant. You just, scream or shout or whatever.
It doesn't to make me scream. Let me tell you.
I was going to ask everybody who is the most easily spooked.
Oh,
Bree,
definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
I would have thought it would have been me because I don't like being scared, but I love scaring. Like I'm a great prankster, but I don't like it happening. So that's why I don't do it that much, especially on set. Like I would never do something like that on set. I thought I would be the one most scared, but I don't like going into a dark room. I don't know why, but even in my apartment, I don't like to have all the lights off. I usually leave one light off near the door, so as I leave, I turn it off then. And it's not a logical fear. I just don't like it. So I thought I'd be awkward in the dark, especially like we go off on our own sometimes. And I thought that would be, I wouldn't like that. But in fact, I have yet to really have a reason to be bothered. And I say bothered as opposed to scared because I don't get a feeling of scared because it might look to you like it's just us in the dark, but there's 3 or 5 people right there talking to us. So it's not too isolating.
Yeah. It's still not enough. It's never enough people. I'm always like, it's too dark. Can there be a light?
I mean, if I Blair Witched it in the basement with a camera up in my face, you'd see snot bubbles and tears for sure.
I do like. I love the reactions that you have. Really, seriously, honestly, I do. Have you ever had a time you've been on an investigation and you've went home and it's really kind of affected you? You know, it's kind of stuck in your head. You know, maybe something's happened, you've seen something or whatever that really kind of bugged you, sort of thing. You know, annoyed you, whatever. Have you ever had anything like that?
I thought for sure I would. I thought after every shoot, we'd be back in the hotel and I'd be up for hours. And I'm asleep and to the world, I'm dead. And then I get up in the morning and I have to kind of go, oh yeah, what happened? Like I have to, I don't dwell on it, I guess, because I have something, the next thing is happening.
I am much better than I used to be when we first started this. But when we first started into the first couple seasons, I would definitely like go back to the hotel and like, I need to sleep with all the lights on. I can't have the lights off. So I literally leave all of the lights on when I go to sleep. And it takes me a little bit to like calm down enough to be able to fall asleep from things that have happened. But now I don't fall asleep instantly. I still need to leave all the lights on, but I do find sleep a little bit easier now. I don't know if it's just because maybe I'm a little bit braver because of all the experiences we've had or what, but yeah, there's moments when it's harder and moments when it's not. Yeah.
And for me, it's like I'll connect with spirit, and it's like that sticks in my like the emotions of it or what the spirits were feeling. I think about the jail where we had the woman's crying on the spirit box. It was done in such a way that it couldn't be like the broadcast band. You know, spirit box blows through the broadcast channel so fast, and it was a sustained crying. And it just shook me. It was like I didn't want to leave her as a spirit, like still there. Or the blue face kind of stuck in my head because I'm very much accustomed to seeing spirit. And it was weird because Richard saw the same thing I did. And it's like, I'm not accustomed to that. I'm not used to someone seeing exactly what I saw.
And I said it before you said. Like I said, I see a face, and you were like, "Where? Like, where are you looking?" Because I saw one too. Like, I this is another thing I think that's helped me just be more sensitive. Is I'll say I see things out loud. Does anyone like I see something in the corner? Like, is anyone else? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not as shy to say declare it. You know what I mean? It's not odd.
Yeah.
But I think we as humans in the world today go through life. You know, you read all these books about fantasy worlds where we have blinders on and we don't see the magic. And I think that's absolutely true. I think that we limit ourselves to what's in front of us because the number of stories we tell ourselves. And I think a lot of people aren't exposed to concepts like energy and souls and things like that. And the more you spend time around that, then your vibrations change too. And you start to even just thinking about it changes how you see things. Yeah. And I think that that's certainly been a product of 3 years now doing the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've spoke to a few people, and you know they were kind of closed-minded and what have you, but you know they started talking to people in the paranormal, watching documentaries, being in paranormal groups, and they've said the kind of same thing since they have been in paranormal groups. They're not as closed-minded now. It's kind of opened their minds up to think maybe there is something to this paranormal stuff. I've also met people who are of the mind if they can't see it, touch it, smell it, whatever, it doesn't exist. But what I say to them is, I'll say to them, well, you can't see a TV signal coming into your home, but it's still there because you can watch TV. So that's the way I try to put it. you go outside, you can't see the signal flying through the air, but it's still there. But a lot of people do think that people, investigators and that they think investigators that they're all nuts. They're warning about graveyards in the middle of the night and looking for ghosts, and they think you're crazy, basically.
I think it's amazing too how we have like the improvised technologies that we use for ghost hunting equipment. I think about the SLS in particular, which was like a camera system for the Xbox, and it creates that skeletal framework of like you as you stand in front of it. But like here I am, I'm able to see what I see and describe it, and seconds later I'll have the equipment share what I saw. I think it was Ruth Ben where I mentioned that I see the feet going up to the knees, sitting in this chair, and then sure enough on the SLS we get like the skeletal framework of that as Richard told me.
Yeah, it was like this.
Cool
it's like this. When you see the ball and stick frame of a person for 3D animation, that skeletal frame, it was like it was coming out of the chair like a flower, and it creeped me out because it was all these like sticks and balls, and then it just all of a sudden stood up. I'm looking on this screen at a chair that's nothing's happening at, and I'm like, and Kevin's going, "Oh yeah, there's a guy standing up." I'm like, "Get this away from me." Ignorance class.
I've seen that used a few times, that camera, and you're right, Richard. It's with these balls and the sticks, and sort of walking about, dancing about, and you're looking at the guy holding the camera and what he's seeing. So you're looking at the screen, and there's nothing there. So what's showing up in the camera? So I think technology, even though I'm technology dumb, I think technology has does help it a lot, especially cameras. We were talking about Greyfriars. Sarah and I have got quite a few photographs of Greyfriars, and at the time we were taking them, we never seen anything. And once we came home and we've looked at them, we thought, wait a minute, what's that, and what's this, and what? You start to see things that the naked eye can't see. Sarah's a kind of gadget one. She likes her wee gadgets and that. Half the time I don't know how to use them, to be honest with you. She tends to like that. So we're filming, a season. What's the kind of work-life balance these have? Is it more downtime than uptime, or how does that balance out? You get more time to yourself, or you get a little time to yourself to relax, or
like in between filming?
Yeah. How much?
It's usually front-ended and back-ended because we start with the intros where we're all there for. Kevin does his day stuff. I do my interviews with, people that like staff, usually people that work at the location or the caretakers. Often we will talk to them as well for their experience, if they've had a ghost experience. And if not them, we've had a couple of great locations where they do ghost watch regularly. And the people that do them come in and they're very versed on the history. And then we break for lunch around 1 or 2, depending on how long it takes. And then we'll come back just before nightfall to get set up for like the pre-night. Sometimes we'll have stuff we need to do at dusk just before it's dark, not much. And then the night shoot, which we do until we get what we get. And so we're usually done by 2. Definitely, we're back at the hotel by 2:30. I don't think we've been back. Maybe once we got back at 3, maybe. But I don't remember.
Once maybe.
It was one late.
Usually it's 2:30.
Yeah.
It's not too
And then,
do you?
For like the entire season, though, we get kind of a break, or we broke for winter holidays, just because
From
it's so
April
cold
to
and
June.
into the film. Like I grew up in the South, so we might get one snowfall in South Carolina. And it's like 2 inches of snow, it shuts down everything for a week. Here in Canada, like it snows to your rear end.
Yeah.
And it's cold.
I mean,
Yeah,
we're
it's like
talking
it's just
we're
Tuesday.
talking to
Let's go.
Scottish people. You guys know cold more than we do. I had cousins from Glasgow come in October, and they were in shorts and t-shirts because it was too hot. And but yeah, we'll sit out on a patio till November.
It does get pretty cold here at times. But in saying that, the past couple of years,
Scott's froze, I think.
Oh, we
He's
lost
gone. He hates us. It's global warming. It's eating through
I
his
know.
life.
I'm sure he'll be back.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Sarah cut him off.
It's your show now, Sarah.
I don't like being on camera. I hate my own show. I done a line earlier on myself doing about the Winchester House. Oh, I hate it. I hate talking.
Just go with it though. It's just conversation.
I'll be right there.
It's a match.
Hilarious.
Kid, to get out of this meeting.
I've thrown too stormy, bring a laptop in. Yeah.
Did you run out of batteries?
The perks of living in the same house, you can just wonder.
That's the perks, right?
Amazing. Technical difficulties.
La la la.
Life would be simple if it wasn't for technology.
Yeah. Gotta love
Have you
it.
had a paranormal experience, Sarah?
Right? That's what it is.
Sorry about this.
What have you done to us?
I just cut.
Oh my God.
Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
You're an actual plum, do you know that?
This is
Plum.
embarrassing.
Our biggest interview to date, and you're going up.
I told you technology and I do not agree.
Right, go.
That's what happened, right?
Oh my God, you've let the cat in and everything.
Oh, little Snoopy.
Where's your cat? Bree?
Oh my God, he's so precious.
Oh, how old is that cat?
He is 5 months old.
Oh, he's a baby. Yeah, beautiful.
Oh, he's so cute.
What's his name?
Toby.
Of course it is.
Toby, amazing.
You're just going to sit
Aw.
there. Okay, just sit there.
It's a Scottish cat right there. There he is.
There it
It's the
is.
circle.
Sorry,
Back.
We'll edit that out of post.
He operated.
I don't know what happened there. It just everything just went off, you know. I never touched any buttons. But as you can tell, Sarah and I live in as you can tell, Sarah and I live in the same house. As you can tell, either that or I'm a really, really fast runner. You know, but we live in the same house.
Oh, now.
So sorry about that, guys. That's kind of embarrassing, you know. Don't know what happened. But as I was saying, our weather has actually changed over the last year or two. You know, it used to be, you know, I remember winters it was like -20, -21 and what have you. That's probably mild compared to Canada's winters, you know, but it does. The biggest problem with Scotland is rain. You know, rain seems to love Scotland. It rains basically all the time during the summer, stuff like that. But then Christmas time, when I was a young kid, every Christmas it was white. You had a white Christmas every year. But I can't remember the last time we had a white Christmas over here. I really can't remember. It's like shorts and t-shirts on Christmas Day. It's just totally, you know, back to front basically. Pardon, I'm a wee bit echoey.
Do you like
Hear an echo here.
You seem
Oh, I've got. So, how do you spend your spare time? How do you spend your free time? What do you get up to?
Well, in my spare time, I read a lot. I also work at Starbucks because I like coffee that much. So I just need to, have it all the time at my disposal. Now I'm also obsessed with the show Lucifer. I don't know if you've watched it or not.
I have not watched it.
You haven't watched it. You have to.
It's on my list.
So
It's
good.
on my list.
It's so good. I'm literally obsessed with this show. For those who haven't seen Lucifer, it's about the devil goes to Los Angeles on vacation, basically, and decides to fight crime. It's quite delightful. Yeah. I spend time with my cat. I drink wine.
Like every lady, like every lady does. I disappeared again there, didn't I? I think I disappeared again for a wee minute. I don't know if it's our internet or what. So what about you, Richard? What do you like to get up to?
Well, I make dresses for drag queens in my apartment, and I live in the smallest apartment you've ever seen. So it's literally covered in glitter, sequins everywhere. I can't even start to tell you. So if I'm not sewing,
There we go.
sewing, then I'm doing. I review RuPaul's Drag Race, all of its inceptions, for my YouTube channel, The Finger Do Review. So I'm teasing my own wigs. I'm making those costumes. I'm writing those scripts. And then once a week I go grocery shopping, and the other day of that week I'll go and visit my friends, and that's the life. It's very boring.
Okay.
I'm usually up at 4 a.m. for no reason at all, and I'm usually in bed by now. I'm usually asleep by 9. Like I even was telling Kevin, I had to set an alarm. I was afraid I'd pass out. I watch Murder, She Wrote before I go to bed. I like a big pot of tea in my Brown Betty, and I may knit socks in the winter. That's how sad I am.
That's not sad. If that's what makes you happy, that's what you do, then that's what you do. Everybody's got their own individual habits, hobbies and stuff like that. And I like to watch horror films, I like to watch documentaries, ghost shows. I had to put that in there, the ghost show bit. I'm a big Formula One fan, stuff like that. So we've all got our own, things we like to do. What about you, Kevin? What's your vices, as they say?
I've been drinking a lot of whiskey lately. Actually, so I have children still at home, so our small kids I'm chasing, and when I'm not working, I tend to work 4 or 5 days doing readings a week, and then otherwise it's family time. And then my wife and I love word games, so Scrabble, Upwards, those types of games. My wife's she's this beautiful uber genius, Oxford educated. So
She's stunning.
I see it as like some mental challenge to take her on in a game. I usually get skunked. Yeah, she's quite gifted in that area, but we'll spend our time on playing Upwards. I think she's won 10 in a row. Or playing Scrabble or playing cribbage or something of that nature. I'm more into board games and stuff. Occasionally we'll watch the odd TV show. We just finished The Umbrella Academy, which was filmed around Hamilton, which is a city near here. So that was quite brilliant. But I think otherwise it's board games, quality time, trying to get away from the kids occasionally.
Yeah.
Well, stop having them.
Yeah, you're right.
That's true. That's an easy option. That's a good option. So he's all basically, he's all gets basically to relax, during filming seasons. So you do get time to yourself, which I think is a good thing. I think, with the work he's do, he's need that downtime. He's need time to, switch off, for,
Yeah, absolutely.
And just
Process
be
what you've
yourself.
seen or experienced.
be yourselves. Do you all live near it? Do you all live close by each other, or are you all? Because I know Canada's a huge
Kevin and
country.
Bree live closer.
Bree lives
too.
about 30 minutes from me, and then
Yeah.
Richard maybe an hour.
I'm in the city. They are not allowed. They've been
It's
shut.
been cool though because like Richard does stand up, and so he was just a couple cities over in the autumn. So my wife and I made it a date to go see his stand up routine. It was a brilliant night, and Bree's been out with us to. I think we went out for sushi.
Yeah. I love sushi.
Oh,
And I think we try to find opportunities just to see each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now that we've wrapped filming, I hope that continues. I want to get into the city, and I like any kind of dining that's weird. So I'm hoping to get in the city for Richard, and hope to have Bree out for maybe a word game or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would be cool. Yeah. So we try to stay in touch in that way.
I'm a hell of a Scrabble player, let me tell you.
I mean,
Yeah, we
it's
try to
good.
see each other when we can, so we can, because we're like a big family, right? So when you go too long without seeing them, you really miss them. So we always try to talk
And
as much as
it's
we
a
can.
small group too. Like I said, it's 10 or 12 of us. Like it's not like there's any like nameless faces. Like we know everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been neat that it's been consistent too. Like over this season, it's been pretty neat to have Roma and Paul and Simon and Connor and just the entire crew there. I hope I didn't miss anybody. I think about the Michaels.
Yeah, the Michaels.
Yeah, but it's been. I worry. I tend to work on my own, so like I'm doing my readings on my own. I've worked for myself for about like 20 years, and so I'm worried about me in a group dynamic. It's like we have these people I just want to be around. Like they're so creative and funny and genuine and neat. It's like wow, I couldn't have asked for better as far as like I was delivered a group of friends. And not just a TV crew or that's not. I don't see it as a side job. It's just it's what we do. We get together and do our ghost hunt.
Yeah, and we have fun and we laugh and cry, and I cry usually.
And don't get it wrong. If we weren't being paid, we would not do this.
Let's call a spade a spade. I mean, I always get asked by friends and family, like, how on earth can you go into, like, literally willingly walk into, like, a completely dark haunted house? And it's like, well, don't forget to get paid to do it. So,
we actually
big motivator.
We always have Bree's check just off set, so it's like I don't want to go in there. We hold it up. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a dangling carrot. No, come back, stop.
It's like if I must.
Yeah.
What's my motivation? This.
I totally get what you're talking. You're saying about family and what have you. You feel like a family. I mean, we've got friends who stay in. I have to write this down 2 seconds. Valdez in Alaska. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. A town in Alaska. We've got friends that stay there. And we met them through YouTube. They've both got their own channels. One's called Chaos Awaits, and the other one's called Shadows of the Moon. They're man and wife. But we talk every day, via YouTube or StreamYards or Messenger, whatever. And you do, and it makes it a lot more fun, if you connect with people. And that's what I like about your show. You watch a lot of these ghost shows, and I'm not saying anything against them, but they're professional, but they lack that wee bit of chemistry, between them. But when you watch, when you watch Knock Knock, you can clearly see the chemistry. And as you said, Kevin as well, you love working with them, and I think that's important because it lets you enjoy what you're doing more. If that makes sense. And you seem like just one big happy family, and I think that's part of the a big part of the appeal as well. And you're always smiling. we never see he's arguing. Do you ever argue? Do you ever
Yeah.
fall out?
No.
We're hammered.
I don't know that we argue. I'm not real argumentative, but
We're not really there long enough. You know,
We're
at most we're
tired.
there 15 hours. We don't. There's a big break in the middle. There's no time to. We're still saying hello when we're rapping. Do you know what I mean? It's so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, too true.
So
Are we going to wrap this up soon, Scott? Because that is 25 to 4 in the morning.
You sweet babies. Ah, you're idiots.
oh, it's going to carry out to
I
well,
don't see how you're doing it. It's like past my bedtime too.
I am normally dead to the world by this point, so feel honoured because I love sleep, but I love you guys more.
Thank
There
Thank
you
you.
go.
We appreciate you guys having us on.
Absolutely.
If one last question then, since the boss is chasing me, if you had to each pick a location in the world to investigate, if someone came up and gave you a plane ticket and just said, you know, there you go, pick up a location, where would it be for you, Richard? What would be your ideal location?
England, the UK, anywhere there, it's so rich anyway. I was in Brighton 2 years ago in a hotel. You know those old buildings where they modified them so much, like there's 2 steps down and 3 steps up to go down a hall. Like they're just crazy.
Yeah.
Those are buildings that want to be haunted. And
Yeah.
I think that to go literally anywhere other than Ontario, because, you know, Canada's not that old. We can't keep going to forts. Do you know what I mean? We've seen them all.
We've seen them all. There's only so many forts we can see.
Yeah. But, you know, even I was in St. John, New Brunswick, doing a show. And while I was there, some people came up to me and took me around the next day in their car and showed me haunted locations because they do ghost walks there. And I would love to go anywhere outside of just Ontario because I think it's just there's so much out there. And I think as we become more watched by people, we're getting, I don't know about you guys, but I constantly get, you should come to this city, you should come to that city. There's some, like New Orleans, I think would be a great place. Just the history, the turmoil that's been there. I think America itself is rife with, I think, possible locations. But I mean, selfishly, I've always wanted to go to Australia. I don't know why. I have no family there, I have no connection. And the fact that I watch so much Australian TV, and I've never been. So I like if I could throw my hat into the ring for somewhere, I would just say Australia, just to go.
Yeah, I would love to do Paris.
Yeah.
I think Moulin Rouge would be a phenomenal location.
During fashion.
During fashion week specifically.
The runway's haunted, I can feel it.
Exactly. I think that would be really cool. I also think it would be cool, like, it would be huge, but, like, if we could do, like, Versailles or even, like, the Tower of London, places like that where there's just a lot of history. It's really old. A lot of people
Who was at the Tower of London? I don't fit through a lot of the doorways.
The Tower of London is, I've been to the Tower of London quite a few times. It's an amazing location. It's amazing. As soon as you walk in the gate, you can just feel the history. I mean, it's going back to William the Conqueror, but it's most famous for like the Tudor era. Henry VIII is where Catherine Howard and Lundy, that's where they were executed. What have you. The Tower of London, Brie, it's phenomenal. Absolutely. Even though at Hampton Court Palace as well, it's another location that's heavily associated with Henry VIII because he owned it. That's amazing as well. So Tower of London, Brie, yeah, definitely. Should go.
She took that one right away from my word. That would be my number one. Tower of London, Winchester House. That's what made me interested in your video, Sarah. Love the whole concept that Sarah Winchester created those rooms to misdirect spirit.
Did you watch that horrible movie Helen Mirren did?
I've not seen that.
Don't. It hurts the whole thing. Don't watch it.
Okay.
I thought that was a
and there's
brilliant
there's
movie.
a location
Did
in the
you
States.
really, Scott? Oh, I thought it was, I don't know. Normally, my gauge on how scary a movie is am I scared? And I'm an easy scare. I felt like everything in that was, I don't know, I just right from the get-go, it was like, okay, bring it. Like, come on, I know it's coming. And I don't know, I've watched scarier things. Do you know what I mean?
I have to
I'm not
confess.
scared.
I have to confess. I know Sarah's my partner to see her, but Sarah knows this. I liked it. What for? You know, one I thought it was a good movie, but I also liked it because Helen Mirren is my celeb crush.
She is.
You know,
She has
yes.
poster on the back wall.
That's the other reason I liked it. You know, agree, Kevin, because I think Helen Mirren's stunning. I mean, she's in her 70s now, 72,
Oh, she's
73,
stunning.
like that.
Yeah.
And so that's why I like it. She's my celeb crush.
She was so sexy in Red and Red 2. I just was like, wow!
She was with the white jacket and that on, shooting people in the snow
With
and
the
that.
gun?
That's what you want. That, you know, that's what you want your ideal female dressed up in the snow gear with a big rifle ready to shoot you. You know, it's perfect. You know, she was. I love Helen Mirren. Really, really nice. But no, the Tower of London and what have you is a brilliant place. Hampton Court. You've got Tower Bridge as well. Tower Hill was a famous execution spot as well.
Yeah.
So basically, I hope you will come back and see us again. We'll have you back on when you're
Absolutely.
available.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, this is fun.
It's been absolutely brilliant having you on, guys. Really, truly. It's been a pleasure and a privilege, as they say. And I'm not sure it is, when we message you, who it is we're talking to. Is it Kyle or who
It
set
could
it
be
up?
Kyle, it could be me, it may be my wife at some point. Kind of just depends.
Mm.
Yeah.
One last question. Is there plans for a season 4 in the works yet?
Officially, yes. we don't have it locked down, but we've shot 3 seasons, and it seems to be a year and a half in between. And we do what I like to call a British season, which is 6 episodes. It's not 100. And so I was happy to hear that we're like, normally we wrap and then we don't know. And then it's like months later, oh yeah, we're going to look at next year at this time. Okay. But throughout, because we had that break from April on, I've been talking to Kyle, and there's just been like, dates and nothing solid, but this is more talk than we normally would have at this stage.
Yeah,
So, so I'm hoping, because the show's doing well. Like, we have really great fan base, which we're so grateful for. We're on Prime in Britain. We're on Prime in America. Out TV in Canada. Out TV is also in New Zealand. So people in New Zealand are seeing it. We have fans in Germany, Poland,
Austria, yeah.
Yeah. All those boring countries that need some life in them. But yeah, so I mean, it's the show's getting really good traction, and we're so that's the thing that surprises me the most. You know, like, I'll be online and I'll get somebody saying something. Oh, I saw your show last night. And, you know, I'm such an asshole because I'm like, what show? I don't. There's many shows. What show are you talking about? You know, knock knock. Oh, the show. Oh, pardon me.
Yeah, there's times I'll be working and somebody will come through the drive-thru and they'll be like, "Are you Bree?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Me?" Like, yeah. And they're like, "Oh my god, I watch your Knock Knock Ghost all the time. It's so good." And I'm like, "Oh, here's your coffee." It's so awkward.
That was
tough for me. It's been like we've been filming since November, and so I've yet to appear on the screen, but I've not been confused for Jim yet.
not yet.
And because we haven't
happened yet.
And because we haven't done our third season, it hasn't aired. We haven't officially announced Kevin yet. So so that's the next thing will be, we have a cast change. Although, because he's been so good with the Instagram, there's been a lot of people like, I remember I posted that picture of you, Kevin, with the energy in front of you. And somebody said, is there a new psychic? And I realized, yes, but I didn't know what to say to it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, we haven't really talked about it.
But I think it was announced back in December or something. And so we it's tough to quietly go about something that you're proud of. And
you want to tell people, you want.
And so I do share, and it's no secret, but I'm so ready for people to see it.
It's such a good episode. It's such a good season. It's so good.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as sad as we were to see Jim go, we're so thrilled. Kevin's we couldn't have asked for a better person to be on the show with us in light of the situation. So it's really been a seamless transition almost.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you just final question, I promise. Final question. Do you get stopped a lot? As the show's getting bigger and bigger. Also, you've done season 3 now, so you've grown since season 1. Do you get stopped a lot? I know you just said, Bree, that people come up to you. What about you, Richard? Do you get stopped a lot in the street? What have you?
I'm never outside. I'm in my apartment all the time.
When you go shopping.
I had a part-time job at the beginning of the year, and what surprised me was people would come up to me at that job and say, "I'm so sorry, but are you on Knock Knock Ghost?" I'm like, "No, I'm sorry, yeah, I am." But I don't. I forget that I'm on it because, as I say, it's like a year and a half between seasons, only 6 episodes. The episodes aren't every week. It's like months in between. So I'm so busy with other things that I get to a point where, right. Like when I was on the radio in the morning, I was on the radio till noon, and then I went to do other things. And by the time I was doing the other things, being on the radio was irrelevant because I'm doing this now. And every once in a while, somebody would hear and they'd hear my voice and go, "Are you on the radio?" I'm like, I am. I sound I'm the worst kind of, I guess, celebrity in that I really don't pay attention to myself. So I'll stand there in line like an idiot. Then somebody will say, "Oh, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I guess."
I don't for me, I don't so much get stopped on the street, but people reach out to me online on the internet a lot. But I feel like a lot of our fans are, at least the ones that reach out to me, are from the UK and from the United States. So that's predominantly where I get people reaching out to me from those countries. And I get private messages and people reach out to me on Twitter and on my Instagram, and all the time. Every other day a person will reach out to me. And what's really cool for me is because of transitioning on camera, I'll get people that will privately message me and thank me for how I handled coming out on camera and making it not a big deal, just kind of introducing myself, yes, this has happened and this is who I am now, and then kind of leaving it at that and not turning it into a bigger thing than it needs to be. Because it's, it's just, it is what it is. It's
exactly. It's you are who you are, and
I was really appreciative of how just to speak on it for a second here at the end. Being as readily accepted as I was by everybody on the crew was amazing. I wasn't expecting a negative reaction, but you never know what to expect when you literally completely change who you are. You don't know if there's going to be questions or confusion or whatever, but everybody was just like, "Okay, great. So your name is Bree now. Okay, perfect."
But the best lesson we had with you, Bree, is you are exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The outside that's changed, but the inside is still
difference. Yeah, but it's I think a lot of people think people are changing all over the place. It's like, no, humans are human.
Yeah.
You can dye your hair and nobody blinks. How is this that much?
Oh, I know. I dye my hair all the time.
You got to stand closer to the box of dye. My eye!
They turn the light off. I know what you're saying, Richard, you know, concerning Brie. She stayed the same person. And you have, you know, if you watch season 1 and then watch season 2, then you're the exact same person. Oh, you transition. To be honest with you, I don't know a lot about it, but your personality, your mannerism, you know, the way you talk, it's all exactly the same. You know, it's just the outside look that's changed, and basically that's it. And I think you've done them.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think you've done amazing. You know, the way it's been handled and doing it on camera, and you know like you, Richard, Kevin, and the rest of your team, they've all accepted it. They've not even blinked an eye, and that's the way it should be. Because there's too much prejudice in this world. I used to work in a hotel, and one of the guys, you know, he was gay, but it was one of the happiest guys you'd ever meet. Nothing of it, and he done drag as well. He does the Pride thing in the town where we live, and I looked him up on Facebook because he was saying, I'm doing the Pride week, and I'm doing I can't remember what he called himself, but you know, and so I looked it up, and I never recognised him. You know, I went into the work and I said, look, I could see your photograph, and so I took him my phone and I said, look, he says, that's me there. And I had to put my phone up. I said, so is, do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, the point I'm making is, he's one of the happiest people you'll ever meet. Nothing gets him down. He likes everybody. He's got a bad look to say about anybody. And so, no, really, you know, I take my, if I had a hat on, I'd take it off to you, basically. But no, I think the whole way it's been handled, the way you've done it, it's totally amazing. I mean, and you don't ever change your personality. Change your hair colour or your dress or whatever. But don't ever change your personality because you know it's definitely a winner. But so thanks very much for coming on, guys. I hope you drop if you've got any YouTube channels, going to drop us a link and we can go on and subscribe, have a wee look at them. And I hope you will come back on, you know, in the next few weeks. Whatever. I know you are all. This is the first time anybody's ever gotten together in one go, so hopefully we can do it a second time, you know. So
this is our first interview. I think I may have done. I know I didn't. I think it might have been someone's podcast like years ago, but I don't even remember doing it. But I think this is our first official Knock Knock Ghost interview.
Yeah.
I did an interview last year for this online magazine in Toronto. But I mean, the only people that see that are people that specifically know about this magazine that's for Toronto. It's called the 416 magazine, which is an area code in Toronto. And so you have to know what that magazine is and want to go on and read it to see anything on there. So this is the first like kind of big thing for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
we very much appreciate it. It's cool for us to like present our team here and just share a bit of ourselves with all of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it means a lot to us that you've agreed to come on.
Well, I almost didn't make it happen because I'm a Luddite.
You know, to say this is, you know, it's a major deal for us. And, you know, we've only been going 4 months since somebody like yourselves on one of our lives. It's phenomenal. We had a guy on last week, you know, Danny Moss. As I said, way earlier, there's only 2 shows I watch, and I've had both of them on our lives, you know, and it's a big deal for us. So, I hope we'll get you on the next 3, you know, next month or so, whatever. You know, we'll be in touch, and hope you can all make it again together. But so I can't thank you enough for coming along tonight, guys. You know, I call it Biddy guys, so no offense, you know, I call it Biddy guys, and keep up the good work. And I cannot wait for season 3. And hopefully we'll talk to you very soon. And stay safe, whatever you are doing. Enjoy the rest of your evening or afternoon, whatever time it is now with you. We're going to, it's 4 o'clock, just 5 to 4 in the morning, you know, so we'll call it
You
night.
might as well stay up now. You know, it would defeat
I
you.
know.
To go to sleep.
I don't know.
Sun'll be up in an hour.
I don't think